Story time of how I left my marriage within 3 years of being married. One, let me take you back to where it started. I dated my husband for 3 years, and in the fourth year, he went home to ask for my hand in marriage, and that was in the Eastern Cape. We had gone down in December, and we are both from the Eastern Cape, and we are both awesome. We got married, it was all good and well, and then we had to come back to Cape Town because that's where we live. We came back to Cape Town and we work, both of us, we work the same hours from 8 until 5. Now we have children, one daughter and one son. I would leave home 6 a.m. in the morning and I would come back around about the same time, 6 p.m. Right, I come back home, I find my daughter, she's on her phone, and my husband is on his phone. The house is dirty, the kitchen is full of dishes, and there isn't a ready meal for dinner. Now, it was always on me to cook because I'm the matriarch of the house. I need to make sure that people go to bed full, not on an empty stomach. Now, how this made me feel: one, I would be annoyed that I come back home and there's people in the house and the house is dirty and nobody seems to care, and also there's no food to be eaten. But I was the first one to leave the house and I'm also the last one to come back. It's all good and well. I don't mind cooking, but I do mind if I come back to a dirty house. I do mind. I would have to shout my daughter each and every day to tell her, you know it's mandatory. Wash the dishes, sweep the floors. Excuse me. Now, she wouldn't do that. Each and every day I have to shout her. She was a rebellious child at the time that we were living together. She was very rebellious. So I'd had to shout every day. And every time I would get to my gate when I'm coming back from work, I'd have to sit outside for a moment because I need a moment before coming into the house, because I know as soon as I come into the house, I am going to be so annoyed because a lot of things will be annoying me. My son wouldn't be fed. My son wouldn't be bathed for the night. I have to do all these things. I have to get home. I just throw my bag out, get home, cook dinner, wash dishes, sweep everything, sweep the floors and everything, make sure that the house is clean, because I don't want to live in filth. And I seem to be the only one that minds living in filth. And I would watch this and it would go on for a couple of years, everything being on me. By the time I go to bed, I am exhausted every day. I don't expect everyone to be doing spring cleaning every day. That's my thing. I do that. On weekends, I do that. I would make sure that the walls are clean in the kitchen because I know that's where the dirt is. I will make sure all the walls are clean, the stove is clean. If we grilled something during the weekend, I'd make sure that yes, you would wash a pan, but it doesn't mean that the stove is clean. The steam on the glasses on the stove, you must take them out, you must wash them. I'd wash the showers and everything, make sure the bathroom is clean. But the least that I'm expecting during the week is for you to sweep. If there's a splatter on the floor, you wipe it while it's wet so that there aren't any marks on the floor, and the dishes must be washed. That's what I expected. I can come back and cook, but what I had to enjoy is that I would come back, and before I could cook, I need to wash the dishes because some of the pots that I'm looking for are in the dishes. Some of the plates or the bowls, they are in there. If I wanna plate the food, they are in there. That was so irritating for me, and for a long time I felt like I wasn't supported. I felt like that because I felt like my husband is there. He could be speaking to this child to do the things, to supervise. I felt like he didn't care. But also I had to understand that this is not his child. This child is a teenager, and she has that attitude that you can't tell me anything. So she doesn't care. Even with me, I have to shout her in order for her to do things. And even so, she would do them the way she liked, not the correct way. So that was a difficult one for me. And also, I felt so unhappy, and I regretted my life choices, and I regretted being married. And I was like, you know what? I didn't know that marriage would be like this. I remember we were in the Eastern Cape in December, and it was very hot. My son, I think at the time, was about 1 year old. And then my husband had asked if we could have English breakfast. There's 21 people in the house. So when you cook for 21 people, you dish for 21 people. So that's just the people in the house without considering the visitors. Sometimes, in the Eastern Cape, sometimes you'd be plating the food, and the visitors start trickling in, and it's December time. Everybody's happy. Everybody likes to go in and out of people's houses. So I have the baby on my back, and I am cooking. And when you're doing English breakfast, there are people that don't eat bacon, others don't eat bacon, others don't eat um, other stuff. People have different choices. So you can't even make things easier and have this one big pan and just mix the rations and whatever in one pot, because other people don't eat pork. So there's those dynamics. Excuse me. And then I have a baby on the back, and the baby is so restless because it's very hot in the kitchen, and it's very hot outside as well. Okay, so I asked one of the children to take the baby to my husband, and the child came back with the baby. I'm like, I can't have the baby now. I'm cooking, and the baby is not used to anyone because he's still small. He's used to his dad or me. So I'm still cooking here in the kitchen, and the baby doesn't want to be with anyone else. He wants him. And the answer came back that and I was so upset. I'm like, I'm here, I'm cooking for your family, 21 people, and you are there chilling and drinking, and all you can say when I'm asking for assistance is that I was so mad. I was so mad at the time, but at the time I didn't say anything because it would be a big thing, and it would be in front of people. One thing about me, I will never fight with anyone, or like I will never fight with my husband or anyone close to me in front of people, because I don't know the things that I will say to you or the things that you will say to me, and I don't know if we can come back from that should I start a fight in front of people. So I'd rather wait for later. And also, I didn't voice that. That's one of the things. That thing made me feel like I'm not supported, my efforts are not being seen, and also I am being taken for granted. And I felt like, okay, in this marriage, what am I here for? Because yeah, in December we are here, Kokwabo yena, he goes out with the brews and whatever, and I'm left here, Kokwabo, cooking breakfast, dinner, and supper. Everybody's having a jolly time, but I look like the maid who's doing all these things. And I asked myself, had I made the right decision? Ngokchata. Secondly, in Cape Town, we both work, and still it's on me. Everything is on me. But then it happened that my daughter moved out because she felt like she was older. She didn't want to stay with us. So it was me, him, and the child. So I wanted to see how things were going to be when it's just me, him, and the child. Because in my mind, I had already planned an exit plan. Because I was thinking, okay, if this is the type of marriage I'm in, then I don't think I want to be in. I don't feel supported emotionally and physically. Also, I'm not happy. I don't think there's anything that's making me happy. And we had been fighting about a phone. Every time I would talk to him, he's on the phone. He doesn't even listen, or he doesn't even hear what I'm saying. And I'm like, I'm busy in the kitchen. You can't even make conversation with someone because he's busy on the phone. When you start a conversation, he's busy on the phone doing who knows what. And I felt like, okay. And all these things, I didn't say all these things because I felt like, okay, I'm being taken for granted. And also, I felt like if this is marriage, then I chose wrong. I don't want to be married. And then I started to move out, like not physically, but in my mind. I didn't want him to touch me. I didn't want to be in the same space as him. If he's in the lounge, I want to be in the bedroom, or vice versa, because I felt like he got married, and then he's happy. Everything is done for him, and I, on the other hand, I am the one that's suffering in all of this. And I wanted to find a way for me not to suffer again. One thing for sure, I knew that if I am going out, I'm moving out with my son. So I was looking for places in Stellenbosch, that's where I work, 1 bedroom apartment that could fit me and with my budget. And I knew that the car that he had given me, I'm gonna leave it. I don't want to look like I've taken anything. And I knew that I'm going to move out of the house, I'm going to leave the car, so I need a place that's going to be closer to where I work, and I need a daycare that's going to be closer to where I work. And I started checking, and I didn't say any of this to him. And I felt like, okay, whilst I am busy, like coming back from work, cooking and cleaning and do all these things, you are on the phone and you are relaxing. But then when we go to the bedroom, I am tired, I am exhausted as hell. And when you suddenly have the energy, and I was like, no, bruh, nah. And he started voicing out the things that he felt like I didn't want him anymore, felt like I don't want him anymore. And I didn't say those things, but it's honestly what I felt. I remember we had an argument, I don't know about what. Oh yeah, about our child, the boy. And in that argument, he said, I don't know. I don't know how to raise a child. I've never raised a child before, and it's my first time being a father. No, you could tell me, you could guide me. What are your expectations? What do you need from me? Because I don't know what I am supposed to do. And when my daughter moved out and we started living together, also changes in him. He would, when I come back from home, I'll come back and he's already cooked and the baby is bathed, and maybe he's doing homework with him. Sometimes I'd find that the baby has eaten, like he's moving into this role of being a father. He's taking care of the baby, and he would go with the baby and maybe to the parks or whatever. And I was like, this is what I needed. Excuse me, this is what I needed. I needed support. I needed support, physical support. I didn't just need financial support. And I felt like physically exhausted every day. But things started to change. He would text me and ask me before I come back from work, what must I cook? Or should I take the meat out? What should I do? Should I put some, or should I bathe him? What? And I would tell him what I needed to do. I think what almost ruined us was me not speaking and not saying what I really felt, what I really wanted at the time. So it's like I moved out and I was ready to just sign those papers. I was just thinking about the logistics. But for me, I was already out. I just needed to sign on the dotted line. And to be honest, I wasn't scared, but I was just thinking that I'd rather be out there than in here, because being here didn't feel like the life that I wanted to live for my life. But we now have changed. We are working together in the house. We share responsibilities. I like to cook most of the time, and he would do the dishes. And then on weekends, I would clean the house, or if I don't have time, I would maybe ask someone to help me clean the house. Because sometimes you won't have the time, because I do a lot of things. I do content creation, I do go to the gym, I run, I swim, because today I went swimming. So I live a full life, and I thought to myself, I'm not gonna stop living a full life just because I'm married. If marriage is going to require me to stop living my life to the fullest, then that's not the type of marriage I want. But yeah, we are here and we are striving, and we've put God in the center of it because it is God who has brought us together. um, yes, we got lost somewhere, somehow, and marriage is very hard. It requires you to have grace, it requires you to have forgiveness in your heart, and not to have to hold a grudge, because when you hold a grudge, you constantly reminding yourself of those things or of those moments. You need to forgive, and you need to restore each other, you know. You need to constantly work on each other, you know. Sometimes you feel like giving up and throwing in the towel. As long as you guys still love each other, I think there's something to look forward to. And as long as you want to take care of each other's hearts, you know. It's not easy. And I remember I said this one day, I was so upset. I said this one day, now I'm left with this baby that I didn't want to raise all by myself, because I felt like I was raising the baby all by myself because I was doing everything. And also another thing that made me feel like I wanted to move out of this marriage was because when we had gotten married, my husband and I were staying together. But then at his work, he took a post that would allow him to travel on, like, on a weekly basis. He was traveling weekly to different places. And at the time, the baby was young, so I had to take care of the baby, take the baby to school, take the baby here, take the baby, and all the time I was with the baby. I didn't have time for myself to actually breathe without having a child. I know taking care of my son, I enjoy it, it's all good and well, but you need time for yourself. And when he was here, he would want to go out with his friends. So I was like, oh, when do I get the time now to be like to have time with my friends without a child? Because if I go to my friends, I take the child with. So that means I'm not checking out as a mother. I still have to look, I still have to see if he's fine, he's playing nicely with other children, is he safe, all that thing. I can't check out and just be myself. And I asked him, I'm like, I'm feeling like I'm left here to take care of this baby by myself, the baby that I never wanted, because I waited 14 years to have a second baby. And the reason why I didn't have a second baby was because that I told myself, if I don't get married, I will never have a baby. And he wanted to have a baby, so I was like, we are married, there's no need for us not to have a baby, we are married. So but now that we're married, I felt like I was raising the baby alone. People can say, yeah, finances, but finances mean nothing if you don't have the physical support and the emotional support. So those were the reasons, but it's all good and well. We working together, we sharing the responsibilities at home. If I cook, he does the dishes. If he cooks, I do the dishes. And then I maybe ask for help on weekends for someone to come in maybe once a week to clean the house, like clean the showers, mop, and do all the things if I don't do it myself. So that is how I almost left my marriage within 3 years. I hope you've learned something from this story time. Yeah, it was a mouthful. Listen, I'm recording this for the second time. I recorded this using this mic, and after 25 minutes of recording, I find that the mic is dead. It's died. I wanted to cry so bad. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed the story time, and I'll see you in the next one. I love you lots.